Assalamu alaikum and good morning. I'm Zia Jaffery and I welcome you to the third episode of Strategic Bites. Today I'm going to talk about Pakistan's responses to the Kashmir crisis ever since India deoperationalized Articles 370 and 35A of its constitution, which effectively stripped Kashmir of its autonomy. I'm going to divide my talk into a couple of sections. I'll first talk about Pakistan's responses and how effective they have been so far. Then I'll shed light on what Pakistan must do in the short to medium term. A lot of people have talked about Pakistan's responses to the crisis. Many critics have pointed out that Pakistan has adopted a very laid-back approach towards the crisis. They've said that Pakistan has emboldened India by not posturing for war or not going for war, and India has effectively kept 8 million Kashmiris incarcerated since the past 93 days. The critics have pointed out that Pakistan is not in a position to match India and is hence adopting a very timorous approach towards this conflagration. It's important to understand and put things in perspective. Pakistan, since the very beginning, has demanded of the world community and of India to give Kashmiris the right to self-determination under the UN Charter and UN Security Council resolutions that apply on Kashmir, and that are 11 in number. Pakistan has continued this demand even after the decision made by India on the 5th of August. Pakistan has taken a diplomatic route. It has tried to highlight India's atrocities inside the valley. It has taken up the cause to fight for the Kashmiris' right to self-determination by being aggressive in all international fora. The Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, has self-appointed himself as the ambassador of Kashmir. He has effectively highlighted India's brutalities in Kashmir. He has also highlighted the similarities between Nazi Germany and Modi's India. His approach to expose India culminated in his emphatic UNGA campaign in September, where he took part in 74 meetings and events in the 6 days that he spent in New York. He made a very passionate and robust speech in the United Nations General Assembly, where he not only talked about the Kashmir crisis in detail, but he also warned the world that appeasing Modi is akin to appeasing Hitler in World War II, and it could have grievous consequences. He underlined the fact that since both countries are nuclear weapon states, it's imperative for the world to stop a potential and impending genocide in Kashmir. He also underscored the fact that any potential issue or the furtherance of any further violence in Kashmir is likely to have an effect, and a bad one at that, on Indo-Pak relations. And if both countries go to war, there is every likelihood that the nuclear angle can come into the equation if the push comes to shove. Pakistan has effectively made sure that the Kashmir crisis is not only a part and parcel of all national and international and the news cycle. You see every newspaper, you see every news outlet, news channel, and Kashmir is one of the top stories. Leaders, lawmakers, international organizations, they're talking about Kashmir, and they're talking about how India is violating basic human rights inside the valley. Recently, Angela Merkel, the German Chancellor, while on a visit to India, talked about the fact that how the current situation in Kashmir is unsustainable and untenable, and how India needs to respect human rights in Kashmir. If one were to put himself in the shoes of the Indian policymaker, it is a very debilitating thing to find out that Kashmir is still the talk of the town everywhere, and India is being questioned on Kashmir everywhere like never before. And this is something that Pakistan and its Prime Minister have effectively done since the past 3 months. Now, why has Pakistan not resorted to war as an instrument of its Kashmir policy till now? It's important to understand that Pakistan is going through one of its most painful economic crises. Pakistan has taken a lot of painstaking measures to put the economy back on track. So Pakistan is not in a position to start off any military adventure that can have grievous consequences. At this stage, Pakistan cannot be receptive to any kinds of crisis on the borders that have grievous and that have prohibitive costs for it. Also, Pakistan is trying to change the narrative. Pakistan was long accused as a country that is a reckless actor, as a country that harbors terrorism, and as a country that finances terrorism. So Pakistan is trying to exonerate itself. Pakistan wants to get out of the Financial Action Task Force's grey list, and so Pakistan is taking every measure to tell the world that it's not the hub of terrorism, it's in fact the victim of terrorism. So Prime Minister Imran Khan has repeatedly said that anyone who wishes to cross the line of control to help the Kashmiris in the name of jihad is not only Kashmir's enemy but also the enemy of Pakistan. So this, although this statement has been taken out of context by the US State Department, but for now it helps Pakistan project a narrative that it is not an irrational actor, it is not an actor that wants war, it is an actor that wants peace. And at a time when the Indian leadership, right from the political leadership to the military leadership, is dishing out threats to Pakistan, it has time and again said that it wants to take over Pakistan's administered Kashmir, or Azad Kashmir as we call it, and it has also dished out many other kinds of threats to Pakistan. Pakistan has shown a great deal of maturity, and Pakistan has not resorted to jingoism and chest thumping. And although it has not, on the face of it, it has not changed the situation on ground, but given Pakistan's limited set of options right now, Pakistan has achieved a lot in regard putting pressure on India. Whether that pressure translates into something tangible is another issue that merits another discussion. But the fact is that Pakistan has not only saved itself from negative press, it has also enabled to put sustained pressure on India, and it has kept India on its toes. India has a lot of explaining to do right now as opposed to Pakistan. So that is something that Pakistan has achieved since the past 3 months. A lot of things that have happened regarding Kashmir are new. The press that Kashmir has got is unprecedented. The amount of negative press that India has got is unprecedented and something that India is not used to. So Pakistan has done something good in that regard. Now, it's also important to understand that Pakistan is operating in a very hostile environment, and Pakistan has a lot of limitations to work with. And if we look at those, we can understand that Pakistan has done a fairly good job in highlighting the Kashmir issue and in highlighting the plight of the Kashmiris. Now, what happens in the future is dependent upon a number of factors. whatever happens in the days and months to come will largely depend on how the situation inside the Kashmir Valley plays out. It is more than likely that once the curfew is lifted in Kashmir, the Kashmiris will react because they have no desire, they don't have any kind of wish to live with India under Indian occupation. India has also imprisoned most of the political leadership, to include the pro-Indian politicians. So there is no line and link between India, the Indian Union, and the hostile Kashmiris. So whatever happens in Kashmir largely depends upon what happens inside the Kashmir Valley. In the long term, what Pakistan needs to bank upon is its economy. Pakistan must make sure that it increases its clout in the international community, it garners more support for its narrative on Kashmir, and that support can only be garnered if its economy is strong. Currently, India's point of view is not that it is being taken on face value, but the world community, despite knowing the fact that India is on the wrong side on many counts, is not pressuring India to do something for the Kashmiris or to alleviate the concerns and the plight of the Kashmiris, because India is a lucrative market for world powers. So once Pakistan improves its economy, improves its power base, Pakistan can then attract much more interest in itself and also in its story, in its narrative about Kashmir and about India. One thing that Pakistan can hope in the near future is the opening of the Kartarpur corridor. The Kartarpur corridor has put Pakistan in good light. It has told the world that Pakistan, despite the fact that India has done away with all kinds of negotiating frameworks with Pakistan, Pakistan has tried its level best not to sabotage this project, and this project is going to open next week. The Pakistani Prime Minister has said categorically that regardless of whatever happens between India and Pakistan, Pakistan will not stop the Sikhs from visiting their religious sites, including Kartarpur and the place in Nankana Sahib. And Pakistan has also decided to open a university in Nankana. Pakistan's measured approach has slowly but surely dented India's narrative. No country in the world and no organization in the world has accepted India's mantra that Kashmir is an internal dispute. Recently, a US congressional hearing took place where India's policies regarding Kashmir, the lockdown, and its right to govern Kashmir was challenged fairly and squarely by US lawmakers. And that is something that is unprecedented. Pakistan never has India and its policy makers been grilled by the US lawmakers before. So it's important to understand that even India's strategic partners are questioning India regarding Kashmir and what India is doing in the valley. So Pakistan, all in all, has shunned criticism. It has not played to the gallery, and it has tried to, incrementally dent India's narrative. What happens in the future, as I told earlier, depends upon the clout that we have, the power mix that we have in the future. How that shapes will largely determine what happens in the Indo-Pak equation about Kashmir. our policymakers have done a decent job, uh, given that it is faced with a set of limitations uh, as of now. That's it from today. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode with a new and interesting topic that merits attention. Thank you.
न्यूज़पेपर ना ई पेपर, अब चलेगा वी पेपर। हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करें और अपने प्ले स्टोर से डाउनलोड करें वी पेपर एप्लीकेशन।